Get the tabs you need open. Okay, I'll come back.
Spending money on bullshit that never make our connection. Tell me what you want. Done waiting on bullshit. I'm packing all of this bullshit for spending money on bullshit that never make our connection. Tell me what you want. Done waiting on bullshit. I'm packing all of this bullshit for
Let's have a conversation without hesitation. Full explanation and thoughtful observation. You have a problem, say it. Don't be afraid to say it. My heart is on my sleeve, waiting for you to take it. My heart is cold as ice, so promise you won't break it. I don't like our love, I know that's complicated. I wanna do all of the things that don't involve you naked. I wanna make sure that you always good, just like bacon. I will keep all of your secrets like I keep the mason. If you believe and I believe, then what we have is sacred. Before we build a happy home, we gotta have a nation. Let's start with love, respect, patience, and communication. This don't have to be keep it basic. Like having matching tats and being in each other's faces. Listening to music, staying at each other's places. Let's take it slow for now and see how far it takes us.
spending money on bullshit that never make our connection. Tell me what you want. Done waiting on bullshit. I'm packing all of this real shit for spending money on bullshit that never make our connection. Tell me what you want. Done waiting on bullshit. I'm packing all of this real shit for
Hey, Julian.
Hey,
Sleepy. Look tired.
what was that?
I said you look tired.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
I
feel
was
bad.
I was sleeping, and I'm like, oh man, I could sleep. Like I lost track of time. Usually I can sleep and still know what time it is.
Okay.
I lost track of time. How are you?
Pretty good. You want to make tonight a quick check-in then?
No, we can go with the flow. I'm good.
You
We'll
sure?
go with the
Okay.
flow. But let's start with a check-in.
Okay. Hold on just a moment.
Like having a nigga operate off wishes and hopes. When you're not around, I have
Okay.
always to cope.
Well,
When I can see
What happened?
everything is going good on my end. Jaden did a really good job on his homework.
Okay.
He's doing really good. Now, for our times, what time works better for you?
So if things were normal, our meetings are done before 11. But the last 2 weeks they haven't been normal apparently. So
Would you like to do later in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock? You don't want to do it that late?
once I got the teens, once I got the teens is over.
That's what I forgot you said that. Okay, so
Yeah.
would it be?
No, we just haven't been getting done on time. So it's about pushing the time. I think 11:30 should be good. We can try
Which would
that.
be 10:30, which would be 10:30 my time, right? Okay.
By that time, I should be done already. You know,
Okay.
I'm surprised that it's taking us this long, but you know, the last 2 weeks has been this way.
I know, I feel you, because sometimes they can have an expected time on a meeting, and then sometimes it can go a little bit over, which can be challenging too. But I put 10:30 a.m. down. And that's for Tuesdays and Thursdays, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think Thursdays.
Or Thursdays, if you want to, I can get the homework ready, and then me and JD can do like a brief check-in at the nighttime thing here. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if your meetings ever go over late or something on Tuesdays, don't worry yourself about it. What I will do is make myself available at nighttime when we come on here.
And Jaden will always be free, so then you can touch base, and if you see that I'm not able to make it, then you can be like, all right, then we'll talk, we'll try Thursday. You can do that.
Okay. And then I'm gonna always make myself available. I'm gonna continue to see his homework on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If it's a time conflict or whatever, if it starts to be like a time conflict or whatever, I'll make sure I have his homework ready for him so he can start on at that moment. But then me and him can gradually talk over it at nighttime.
Yeah. So I think I got a next person for you.
You got what?
The next person for you.
Who's that?
It's a young lady. Today was like her second day.
Okay.
I gotta I know she likes to read. She loves to read. However, she's currently loves to read from like on an app. And it's like more like fictional fantasy stories.
Like a Play Store app.
Like a what?
Like an app on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, it appears to me that the content is like adult content.
Okay.
Like more like she probably got no business looking, like her mama probably, might not appreciate the fact that she's on it, but I can appreciate the fact that she's reading. And maybe it's not material that you want her to be reading at the moment, but she's reading it. So it's maybe like, how can I help her build on her love to read by connecting her with you, someone else who loves to read, but you love to read about different content, but there's still that connection about loving to read.
Do you think about starting her off with the words like I started off Jaden with, and let her learn her expand her vocabulary, or you don't think she'll be interested?
Nah, my hesitation right now in even getting her started is that she gets there late, so she gets there closer to 5, and then we're only there for an hour, and because it's the beginning, you can tell she likes coming already.
Okay.
So she's having a good time socially. So I don't want her to take her away from that social experience.
Let her get more comfortable. Feel your way in for her for what she really really likes to do. and something else that combines with like reading and stuff. And then that way that'll give me a chance. Like I know Jaden, he likes to draw his photos with his words. So what I'm doing with Jaden is I'm going to expand his vocabulary as much as I can. And then what I'm gonna do, like in a couple more weeks, the words that we've been working on and stuff, because I keep track of the words that he work on myself in a booklet. I'm gonna have like a spelling thing for him. I'm gonna mix the words around for him to spell it out correctly and stuff like that, and do little activities like that with him. And then now I'm thinking of something I can go into the next step. But right now I'm staying there with Jaden because there's something he likes to enjoy doing, but he's expanding his vocabulary word.
Is he speaking up when you guys are talking? Like
He do a good job.
Okay, I'm trying to work on that too. Like sometimes he'll talk, but he's like.
He sound like a little young professional, Julian.
Okay.
So he cool. Yeah, he cool. I got what he like to do. So anybody else that you bring on, or you plan to bring on in the near future, I would even like for them to even speak with Jaden to see if they what things they like to enjoy doing together, and then that way I can combine something together for them, because what I want to do is do something that they enjoy doing, but I want to keep it fun for them. That way they're very much interested and they're learning at the same time.
Right, definitely. I think that's good.
And I finished that book, Brene Brown. Awesome read.
Brene Brown?
Yes, I just started reading this one, Julian. I think this is something that you'll be very, very much interested in. But I'm only at the beginning. I'm just going to continue to read through it and give you some more in depth on it.
You get it! You get it! I got black!
Juju.
What did you say? You got black pants? She can't see your pants.
You got black pants on? Oh, Juju.
What are you doing, Juju? You silly. You being silly. Okay. So tell me about the book. Like, so you're just in the beginning of it.
I'm at the beginning of it, and it's talking like about like just different changes in the world and how to adapt them, and like the new creations of like different social platforms, like social media platforms, and like it just really goes into depth. Like right now I'm learning about the pervasive myths that prevent change, and then they're discussing the Berlin study, which is still in the beginning of the book. It has a lot of history in it so far too, but it's matching it with what's going on in today's world, in the social world and stuff like that. So I'm going to continue to read more. I know that you really like the platforms. You're really interested in that. And that really, when I first started reading about that part, I'm like, oh, okay, this is something Julian would definitely be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How did the Brene Brown book end?
Man, that book's so good. But you know what? I'll tell you this: people who got drama in the workplace, they need to recommend that book to their employees, because it'll have people on a whole different other outlook on how to treat people, how to respect people. You know what I mean? Like, that book is good. The book is good.
Do they have let me check if they have an audio book, because I may be interested in listening to the audio book. So does it talk about how organizations practice being vulnerable, yet not like
not really accepting the fact, and different, man, it went over so much stuff.
Like, what I'm thinking is like, okay, so when something happens, an organization kind of like wants to not get sued. You know, they want to be able to like have difficult conversations, yet still like watch their back and not like, you know, make mistakes. Is it?
And they talk about like in leadership, like if you're not uncomfortable, you're not really performing really good leadership skills, because with being a leader, you're going to be put in situations that make you feel uncomfortable. That's the part of being a leader. And I really agreed on that, because with being a leader, you're going to come across and you're going to deal with so many different people, personalities, attitudes, that you have to be of service for. And what I mean by that is being practicing service leadership. And like right now for me, okay, I am in leadership, but at the same time, I am of service leadership, because that is the way that you grow, of being a service to someone else. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Right. Right. It's easy to say, but it's hard for people to understand that.
It's really hard for people to understand that.
And if you practice radical service, which is kind of like some word I just kind of made up at the moment,
Hmm.
People really don't understand that, because in my opinion, radical service means you don't got an opinion. You're just being of service to other people and facilitating other people's growth as a leader. And that's not something that's easy to practice.
It's not, because someone that is easy manipulated by their mind, someone else can tell them on the outside, oh my God, you just do everything they tell you to do. You just do, but it's not what that is.
Yeah.
It's not what that's about. It's a learning opportunity. Like me, I'm in service leadership because it's a learning opportunity for me, Julian. When I go in and I'm being connected with different individuals and stuff like that, it's because I'm getting to know them. But at the same time, I know it's a good cause. Like when my boss said, you can work with Julian. Matter of fact, the things that you work on, I'm going to call it professional development, blah, 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 skippity. But she knows that that's for a good cause. You know what I mean? She just automatically knew off the bat. And then as I started to talk with you and I started to come on here more, I got to know more about you. But at the same time, you're someone who encourages me to read. I've read numerous of books since I started. And I'm just like, we really still in the beginning. And within those books, like, it's certain things like people can have a conversation with me, but it can flow easier for me because up here I understand it more.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't do that. It can be people in their career field, like we was talking about the other night, they be in their career field 15, 20, 30, 40 years, and they be so irritated, so mad, because they stuck back way, way long ago, Julian.
I think it's easy to tell people what to do, and it's harder to support people in achieving their dreams and goals. And really, like when we think about the workplace, like if you're a leader, in my opinion, like there's two approaches. There's like the work objectives, like the goals that we have at work. We know we're creating a product, we're providing a service, and then there's the individuals that you're working with, and they have dreams and goals and aspirations. And as a leader, if you help the people that you're serving achieve their dream goals and aspirations, then they're going to be better workers. And you don't have to be pushy, you don't have to be bossy. You could just help people have the tools they need to be happy, care about their lives personally, and then they're gonna care about the work that they do,
Mm-hmm.
And get it done. But it's easy to give people orders, and it's easy to try to like, oh wow, it's easy to give people orders and tell people, Juju, wait a minute, Jaden,
Those strawberries, I just ate some strawberries.
are those strawberries, have they been washed? I see, mom, if they've been washed. Oh, I don't think they have. Yeah, and then there's one looks like it's gone bad, the top one. Yeah, it's like, especially like if in a youth program, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can take the approach of like kind of forcing people to want to learn, or being hard on them, or creating an environment where you can manipulate people into getting work done by bringing fear, you know, or by using other tools. Even incentives could be a tool, you know, that could be used. That could be a tool of manipulation. Um, but in my opinion, if you're patient and you're able to allow people to develop their own motivation,
Mhm.
I think you can have more success and more results. But
Let me
oftentimes,
write that down. You say if you are patient with what, Julian?
um,
Daddy got chocolates.
I can't. Let me just talk again. I don't know. So if you're patient, um, and you allow people to find their own motivation, if you're patient and you allow people to find their own motivation, you're gonna have lasting results. You're more likely to have lasting results rather than you being the source of motivation, you being like the person that's pushing them and giving them orders. You know, like it's it's easy to force people, to ask people to do a resume. It's easy to kind of put that pressure, like you need to get this resume done. You got to get this resume done. Then talking to a person and over time having them realize what the benefit is of having a resume.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I I haven't even gotten to having the teens I got build the resume yet.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden, can I get more water? You know, and I know it's important, especially like the future resume, because it's kind of like a vision board. But we you know, we're getting there. But I want them to see the value of it without having to be told directly. Now, some people might be like, well, why don't you just tell them, or you can just make them do it, or whatever. I get it, yeah, right. But it's different when it's done because they want to do it and they're putting their energy and attention on it because they want to do it, than because they were told to do it. You know, like right now, for instance, I got some portfolio items that I've, you can say, had them do without them necessarily knowing what's important about it. That their effort isn't there. They're just, you can see how that some of them are answering very simply, didn't put any thought behind it, you know. So then I'm not gonna push and press. I'm gonna just wait and create the environment where they're gonna be like, well, you know, maybe I should give it more thought. Maybe I should care more about what I'm doing, you know, than just giving the bare minimum. But that takes time. That takes time. And I'm not gonna give them an F on it. You know, like I'm not gonna try to grade it. That's what people do in school is, you know, they ask you to do something, then they want to grade it with the idea that, well, if you get a grade A, then that means you did good, and then you want more grade A's, which is not like, it's like a fake motivation. In real life, you don't get a grade A or a grade B or a grade F. If you don't make good food, people ain't gonna buy your food.
Right.
You don't make
Ain't no,
good
if
product.
they ain't gonna grade you or nothing, if your food ain't good, they just simply not gonna purchase it.
Now, it doesn't mean that sometimes they may not just go and get it because they need to, but you're not going to be able to last in business with bad food.
Mm-hmm.
Or you provide a bad service, you know, 9 out of 10 times you're going to be out of business for providing a bad service.
Mm-hmm.
And there are exceptions, you know, of course, with everything there's exceptions, but the point is, I it's easy to like manipulate, and I don't mean in a bad way, but it can have bad consequences. But it's easy to get what you want by forcing people rather than letting the flow, going with the flow. Like to go with the flow requires patience, you know. And a lot of times that, you know, people don't have the time, especially in this capitalistic world where people are looking at the clock like, yo, we ain't got time, we got to make this money.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, they don't understand that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good that you're getting, reading all these books that are giving you like other people's best experience. They've been
Then,
working.
of course, overall, it's gonna help me write my book too, because I'm seeing the way that all these different authors are writing from different points of views and just things like that. And I'm like, this is dope.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
been reading so much lately that the librarian know me by my name. Like, she don't even want the workers to come and bring me my books. Like, she'll come to the door and speak to me and things like that. But I like it and I'm cool with it because of the simple fact is I'm glad that I'm being noticed and stuff, especially by a librarian, because when I actually do write my book, I'll have people that support me locally that'll actually buy my book right off the hands just because of who I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like so cold up here, Julian, and I have to go to the library tomorrow. I have to go. I'm like, I might as well go do all my running around tomorrow one day because I got to go in person. Well, Thursday and Friday, I'm going in person, which works better for me in the office. 2 days in a row, and then I'm home the rest of the days. That works a lot better for me.
Okay.
In my math, I've been on the road with it.
Well, have you decided when you're gonna take the practice test?
2 to 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
this is my first week, so I'm going to get in this tomorrow. See what's going on next week with myself. I'm gonna take a practice ready test first, see how I do, and with that test, it'll show me exactly what I need to study on. Right now, I'm just getting myself, back motivated with math and things like that. And that's a shame because I need to remove this from in front of me. Look what I got in front of me, my calculator. But God's will, I'll have it all done by June. If I keep going the way I'm going, like I've been doing on the rest of the subjects.
Cool. Cool.
And I'm not expecting to aim super high on math. I know that I am not like really good at math, but I know that I can at least aim with a good passing score.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm pretty good in math, but it's been such a long time.
Right? Like you got to put it back in your mind.
Yeah, like a part of me would like to go through math class again,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of hear it with my adult mind. But I don't got the time right now.
Julian,
There's so much other stuff I'd rather be doing.
Julian said, I ain't got the time right now. You was looking like I'm not gonna be fucking with no math right now.
Not for no fun. Like it ain't my hobby. It's not gonna be my. I'd rather draw.
Yeah, I feel you. You should have seen the look on your face. You was looking like, not right now, Alexandra. I'm not gonna play with math, and that's not no.
It's
But
a new.
I got it. I got it good in my heart. At least, I mean, I need 145 to pass. If I can aim anywhere between a 150 and a 160, I'll be happy with that.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like math. The way they teach you in school is like a crossword puzzle.
Yep, it's like a game.
It's like you're never gonna use a crossword puzzle in real life. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not beneficial. You could like crossword puzzles are good brain exercises. Same thing with math. It's good brain exercises, but the way that you learn now, granted, I'm not saying that all math, but like equations and stuff like that, and like a lot of the algebra, like the way that they expect you to do it in school is different than the way you use it in real life most times.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this thing as practical math, and I think that's it's different. So what else? What else?
I'm gonna continue to read this book. I think change is gonna be more of a book. It's different. So the notes that I would take out of here is gonna be like different.
Yes, you.
Like a lot of they basing like the past with the present and like the change and the different beliefs and behaviors. how people adapt them and things of that nature. So, but it's still a good book. I'm gonna still continue to read. Um,
Did you want to listen to a book review on Daring Greatly? That way we can get critique it.
sure.
And I think it could be useful because you kind of do book reviews,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So this is a book review by Heather Patterson.
This week, I'd like to share with you a book review. This book review is a little different. It's both personal and work related. And before I even get into the actual book, I want to share that this author, Brene Brown, her work has transformed my life.
Can you turn her up a little bit?
Oh man, it's not going up any higher. Let me do this. Hopefully this helps. Let's see.
Okay.
The power of vulnerability.
Does that help?
A friend of mine randomly recommended it, and I mean, so many light bulbs just started going off. Then I read her book, The Gifts of Imperfection. I devoured it on a plane ride, and that completely changed my life. And I just keep consuming her information, her material, her research, her talks, and always transformed. I always find some value out of it. So I want to share with you a book that she wrote. Well, it's been out a couple years now, but I wanted to share it with you today. It's Daring Greatly. Daring Greatly. Here's what the book looks like. Bring it in a little bit for you. Daring Greatly. So why do I love this book, and why do I think you will too? Why should you read it? I found this paragraph in the front, in the foreword, that really helps sum it up. So let me read it to you briefly. It says, vulnerability is not weakness, and the uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure we face every day are not optional. Our only choice is a question of engagement. Our willingness to own and engage with our vulnerability determines the depth of our courage and the clarity of our purpose. The level to which we protect ourselves from being vulnerable is a measure of our fear and disconnection. That statement right there, a measure of our fear and disconnection, is exactly what we talk about here on this channel. If you've watched a single video, you know that a critical ingredient to being happy at work is to have connection, to have relationships with others. So it might not appear like this is a work-related book on the surface, but truly, truly it is. Now, in the first few chapters of the book, Brene lays a beautiful foundation about what vulnerability is, what fear is, shame, guilt, embarrassment, some of these things that are really dark that we don't really want to talk about a whole lot. Now, this is huge for me. I have experienced a lot of shame. I remember, and especially at work, I remember one day, I was in what Brene would call a shame storm, right? The day before, I had participated in a triathlon and didn't do very well. I had been dating someone and learned that I wasn't very high on his priority list, and that felt like I wasn't good enough. And then I show up to a meeting and had to report out that I wasn't delivering on the things that I needed to get done. I was behind. And it was awful. And the things I was saying internally were terrible. Like I wasn't good enough, and I'll never measure up, and how could I be important? And oh my gosh, it was awful. And reading that, several years later, put some sense to all those thoughts. I was in a shame storm for real. And, like I said, she just puts some sense to the things that we experience. She says that we all experience shame to one degree or another. And if we don't, then we're sociopaths. And yeah, so we might as well just admit it, which I love that, because no one's gonna admit that they're a sociopath. So just come clean that you experience shame too. So she makes some sense of that. And it's very, very helpful. Like I said, it's foundational. Now, if we forward, if we go ahead in the book, we get to chapter 6, where Brene starts talking a lot about workplace and leadership and how that requires vulnerability. For some folks out there, you can jump around. You can go from chapter 10 to chapter 2, but this is not one of those books. So while I say fast forward to chapter 6, I don't literally mean that. You need to read the first 5 chapters to make sense of chapter 6. Chapter 6 is sort of the heart of what we talk about on this channel. That's why I'm emphasizing it here. One thing that Brene says is that we need to rehumanize the workplace, and I couldn't agree more. I think that if you watch this channel and you watch regularly, you probably agree as well. The challenge is that when we rehumanize, it makes us go into those dark corners, and it feels really scary. And for some of us who have backgrounds in HR, compliance, legal, it feels even more risky because what? I don't want to go into those crazy, dark, risky areas and find myself in a lawsuit. So we can't necessarily blame people for not wanting to go there, but it's a requirement. We want to have the relationships, we want to have the innovation that is necessary in today's workplace. Brene says that it won't be hard for you to spot a workplace that is shame-ridden, that you'll find things like blame and gossip, humiliation, harassment. And she says that shame, it starts at the top. And we talk about this a lot on the channel, that really everything starts at the top and it rolls down. She said that shame can only rise so far in many systems where people disengage to protect themselves. When we're disengaged, we don't show up, we don't contribute, and we stop caring. What this really looks like are those people who are actively disengaged, and it also looks like turnover. Sometimes from really great and talented people who just feel like they need to armor up and protect themselves. What Brene encourages is honest feedback, making an effort to see where the shame exists. And so that means going into those dark corners, having tough conversations. She also encourages normalizing struggle and challenge. That when somebody is messing up and they're in their own shame storm, that the leader would say, it's okay, I've been there too. Think about it, if you've ever had someone normalize for you, what a relief. What Brene also encourages is that we need to train. We need to train employees on shame and guilt and how to receive feedback so that we don't find ourselves in a storm of our own. One of the biggest things that she's found in her research is that there's just a lack of feedback. Now, as a coach and someone who talks with employees and employers and teams and all that, I could say this is common in my work too. There's just a lack of feedback. People don't know how to do it. They don't have a habit of doing it. They don't want to hurt people, or they wait until it's really too much and they blow up. And that's not healthy at all. Brene encourages a strengths focus when giving feedback, and I absolutely positively agree. She also says that we need to recognize that feedback is a vulnerable process on both sides. She says, of course, it's really, scary to realize that what you say might hurt someone temporarily, that they may not receive it well. And that if we can remember that when we're receiving feedback, that, oh, this might not be comfortable for the person delivering this to me, well, then that just builds that culture. On page 204 of the book, she has an amazing feedback checklist. It's like a check yourself checklist, so that when you're sitting down to get ready to give feedback, you are in a place, you can make sure that you're in a place that it's going to be delivered better than if you aren't able to meet some of the agreements in the checklist. And she has a leadership manifesto at the end of chapter 6 that talks all about what it means to lead with courage and vulnerability. I read to you, but I want you to go pick up the book, go and check it out. Let me know what you think. The final chapter of Daring Greatly talks all about parenting. And we don't talk about parenting on this channel, but here's what I know. I know many of you are parents. And I also know that while we're happy at work, we're happy in life, the inverse is true. When you're happy in life, you're happier at work. So if you can get a little nugget, a little wisdom, some growth, some help out of this chapter on parenting, please, by all means, that's even better. That wraps up my book review for Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. I hope that you found the information helpful and you are inspired to go get the book. Remember, being happy at work requires action. And in this case, maybe even daring action. Daring greatly, being vulnerable, show up at work. Thank you so much for watching. Before you go off, remember to check and make sure you're subscribed so that you can get this.
Okay. How was the review based on after you read the book?
I like that format of review. That was my first time actually listening to someone actually speak in the terms of a book review. So I'm going to get into that. That was something new I was introduced to tonight, and I liked it that.
And there's people that do book reviews differently.
But the truth, I'm not going to lie, from reading that book, she spoke the truth.
Okay. Let me show you another review. And we won't play the whole review.
Okay.
Perfect. And bulletproof arsenal.
But I want you to see another style. All right.
But they don't.
1 second. Let me share my screen. And I'm showing them because you basically do book reviews, you know? So, but I want you to see what it looks like on video.
Experience. Brene Brown. Daring Greatly by Brene Brown is a book that expands on her legendary TED Talks, The Power of Vulnerability, and Listening to Shame. In the introduction, she quotes Teddy Roosevelt's Man in the Arena quote, which we won't share in full, but starts off, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena." Brown feels these words encapsulate her work and help explain why being vulnerable is so hard to do. In her words, the arena is life, and being in the arena is living a life full with an open heart. Living with an open heart requires vulnerability, which is exceptionally difficult in today's scarcity mindset. Let's do an exercise. Think about your day. Try to remember each time you said, "I don't get enough blank." What about the times when you thought that you didn't have enough money or weren't thin enough, compared your marriage to someone else's? How are we supposed to be vulnerable when you compare yourself to others, spending countless hours feeling the need for more? Instead, realize what you have and what you are is enough. This is the opposite of scarcity. Not only do we live in this not enough culture, but there are 4 myths that have been popularized and taken for truth in modern society. The first is that vulnerability is a weakness. This can't be true. We idolize and look up to people who are willing to put themselves in vulnerable positions. Don't believe me? Brene asked her audience during a lecture if it was brave of her to speak in front of a room full of people. If putting yourself out there in front of that many strangers was vulnerable, most people raised their hands. Her point was that while we admire her for being open and brave enough to speak in front of a crowd, we are afraid to do the same thing in our own lives. If you think it is brave when others are vulnerable, why not give yourself the same credit? Next up, myth number 2 is that I don't believe in vulnerability. Vulnerability is a base which all emotions are built on. You like it or not, you can't escape it. You also don't have to put it all out there. That's the third myth. Vulnerability isn't about sharing your feelings or oversharing with everyone, just a select group of people who will understand and value not only your feelings, but your past experiences as well. The last myth is that we go at it alone. While there are those among us who like to envision ourselves as lone wolves, we all need support at times. Vulnerability is about knowing when you need to ask for help, since we all get there at some point.
Yeah, so I'll pause there. That was a pretty cool review, right?
I like the way he writes and like draws the words along while he's talking. That's pretty
I
deep.
believe that's an app. I believe that's someone using an app that allows you to
Do that as you're talking.
yeah, that kind of looks like a PowerPoint, like an app that is like a PowerPoint, and then you can insert these little like drawings that go along with what you're saying, and then you type in the words that you want to, focus on. But still, I thought that was pretty cool. He's basically just narrating it, and then he created a visual presentation to back it up. Instead of just using a regular PowerPoint, he used like an animation. So that's like some animation software. But anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool way of, baby. I'm Jaden. Call Jaden. Mhm. So, okay. Anyway, so I look forward to being able to hear you read your notes on this book as well. We'll have to pick a week or something.
I actually, I'm gonna be in the office Thursday, so I'm gonna print my notes out. Okay. That way I can have them in front of here, because I know sometimes they'll get stuck on the screen. I don't want to go through that. I'm gonna print it out, and then I'll also, I'm gonna send you a copy of the Darren Greatly notes too. Okay, it's pretty lengthy, but that can be something that we can discuss. It'll probably take us at least 2 days, maybe 3 days, because it's a nice little conversation thing that we can get into.
I'm down to go through, whenever, especially when we don't have people on.
Okay.
I definitely want to go through them, because then we can talk about, first off, you're reading her experience, which is great because you're getting the best of her work. But then if me and you talk about it, then I can tie in more experiences and talk about it from another angle that allows us to like take whatever it is that you learned from there. I can learn more from it as well, and then we can add more to it and make it that more useful for the people that watch the videos too.
I'm gonna make a note of that Thursday email. Julian. And then another thing I was thinking I could do for professional development, since I do the 2 homework assignments and I prepare them, if I don't meet with you on Thursday and I'm doing professional development, I can kind of make out like a facilitation agenda. I mean, we don't have to go by it, but it'll teach me some agenda making skills. I can use it with the book Darren Greatly for my notes off of it and kind of make it for us. And I can use that for my professional development Thursday, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, whatever you got to do, I think it's important for you to practice. Now, I'm saying the ultimate facilitator doesn't have notes. You know what I mean? And that makes people feel uncomfortable. Like if you show up at a meeting with no notes, they think that you unprepared. If you show up, but I think that's being vulnerable and being able to be present with the team that you got. But that takes practice.
I'm not even gonna lie, like I haven't got to that level yet. So, and I'm quite sure I will eventually, because
practice. Yeah, it takes practice. Because all you really got to do is just pay attention. Like what's the objective here? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to plan an event? Then we're gonna get there. So we know that we're planning an event, but where are we at now? Now what happens is, when you go with no notes, you might realize the truth that that group is not ready to do whatever that group thinks they're ready to do. And what I mean by that is that there's other stuff. Sometimes when you have an agenda, you're just trying to go through it without really going through it, because you got to go from the first item on the agenda to the next item. And then if you got 5 items and you got 10 minutes, then you're trying to make.
Who's that, Juju?
Yeah. He's playing with Janai. He loves hitting these high notes. So what I'm saying is, sometimes by having an agenda, it makes you want to go through all the items on it before the meeting is done. And then you don't give enough time to things that need to be given enough time. And if you don't, then you may go over something that was important to the success of whatever it is that you're doing, but then, you know, it gets missed. But there's no wrong, and I think it's good to practice with agendas. You know, it's good to practice. And I think that's my goal. My goal is to have you feel comfortable enough where it doesn't matter who's in the room. You don't need an agenda. You could just go off the cuff. You know, granted, you got an agenda, great. You know, but ultimately, you know, what are we doing here? You know, if you're, like in your situation, like if you're in a staff meeting, you're there to ultimately serve the people that you serving. You know, that's who that's what the end goal is. So then what are we doing in this moment to serve them? And then you could always talk that out, like, you know, and then if you got in your mind, so for instance, you got people, you got processes, and you got products or services. And that's what we're talking about. Whenever you're in a meeting, you're talking either about people, the people you serving, or the people you want to serve, or the people that are serving the people that you want to serve. Wow, Juju hitting them tones. So, you know, if it's processes, like how are we doing it? How are we going about doing it? And then if it's about the product, like what are the results? And then we're having meetings about this and from different angles. But once you start putting like having words that are shortcuts to what it is that you're doing, then it's easy to just always be thinking about whatever you got to be thinking about. You know, but you got this, you know, practice and facilitation takes practice. But by us talking about these books that you're reading and matching them with real life experiences, then you're starting to see how everything is connected, like vulnerability is connected to everything. Like it was cool to see that she talked about vulnerability as it relates to parenting. Yes, a lot of parents.
I got notes on that too. It was some really good. It was really, when you read the notes, I got a lot of notes. You're gonna be like, "What you tried to do? Rewrite our book?" I'm gonna be like, "No, Julian, I just was note taking." So I was able to cover those.
A lot of people may want to talk about vulnerability in the workplace, but then they don't talk about being vulnerable with their kids. You know, they want to keep secrets, or they have shame about their own shortcomings when it comes to parenting, you know, and they think that they're doing the child a service by not having certain conversations, but really they're just being cowards about themselves. They're not ready to face the truth about what they, you know, are insecure or fearful about. But it was cool to see that Brene brought that into the book, you know, about parenting, because a lot of people want to make exceptions about parenting. So, he's over here playing with Janine. It's like midnight and they over here running around like it's 3 p.m.
They better go to sleep.
They don't understand that. They don't understand the concept of time. And I like it that way. That way. For real, just because it's dark outside, that doesn't really mean nothing. Right. Unless you're going to school. And even then, like, learning is about, you can learn at any moment in time.
You're right about that, because I wake up sometimes and I'll be like, it'll be times that I get off here with you and I'll be up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Nine, be careful.
Reading or studying.
Pick that up, please. The juice, pick the juice up, please. They be like, Juju spills water or juice or something every day. Can you give me that cup? Is that a cup? Give me the cup. Thank you. Like thank God we got tile and not carpet. He spills something every single day. Every single day. It's like if we had rugs, they would be sheesh. So glad we don't got rugs. Okay.
I don't care. I done had carpet before. I got like area rugs and stuff throughout my apartment, but I'm good with that because I can shake them off, dust them, and do my floors.
And we got like white tiles, so I like white tiles now. You gotta sweep every day. You gotta like mop often because you see everything. You know, it's like you could see it, and I like that because then you know you gotta clean up. You gotta pick up after. With rug, like all that dirt goes underneath. You don't really know how dirty your rug is, and I'm good. I'll pass on the rug. So, well, all right. Anything else we got to talk about?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow, same time.
Okay.
Tune out, tune out, tune out. The Black Care Party presented the Real Talk Show, where we talk about friendship, love, and purpose. Friendship has everything to do with aura, love is more, and purpose is about saving time. I am JRX36,
And I am Alexandra.
locked in, and this was an All Ages Alliance production. Bye-bye. Jaden.
Why can't I just leave when I need to? What time is saving, waiting to see what I need to.
Juju. Tune out, tune out, tune out. The Black Hair Party has presented the Will Talk Show, an all ages alliance production featuring JRX 36 and Alexander Blockton. We will see you tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Take care now. Bye bye.